the L&T show.
Or TNL.
I'm Cashmere.
Armani.
And we are here to discuss labels and relationships in the lesbian and trans community. Is that what we're here to discuss? You think so? Are you thinking about it? Okay. So, what we do is debate,
mediate,
and educate. So, let's start off. We're going to start off with the debate about lesbians dating trans men and trans women. This is a very, very interesting topic. It is like debated all the time. I feel like I have experience in this topic because I've dated one of the baddest trans women in the Philadelphia community. I just want to say that.
Oh my gosh.
I can say that.
My sister is pretty.
I'm just saying. I don't want to brag, but
oh my
gosh. You know. So, do you have any experience in this field?
I have dated a little bit of everybody.
Oh, this is gonna be good. So, let's talk about.
I have dated a little bit of everybody.
A little bit of everybody. That means you dip and dab in every cookie jar.
Hey,
ain't nothing wrong with it.
Floats my boat, right?
Yep, we
That's
rolling.
How we go.
This is how you
rolling.
This is how you roll Armani's sexual boat.
This is not.
No. This is how you do. Or do you do this?
That's probably.
Oh.
But
you got stroke. Okay. So let's talk about what the problem is. So when I dated
the debate.
Yeah, when I dated a trans woman, it was this whole thing about me not being a lesbian anymore. I was called dick layer. I was called straight. I mean, it was a lot. It was a lot. But what I also dealt with was my partner's issue with it also, because she didn't want to be labeled as a lesbian either. So, should we start there? So let's start there. There's so I am 100% lesbian, and I don't consider who I date and how I date to change that identity of me. So if I date a trans woman, I'm still a lesbian. I call her a lesbian, but she didn't like that. But I do. If I dated a trans man, which I think would never happen, because I'm like all the way in this. Like, I'm all the way in this. So I consider, a trans man is a trans man just like a man. I'm not attracted to men. I'm not attracted to, I can't say I'm not attracted to some masculine centered lesbians, because I've dated them too. But it's just like, I like, we
femininity.
I like breasts and pussy and ass and yeah.
And you know that some trans men label their body parts as such, right? You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Oh, look at the education.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. That's why we having this conversation. Oh,
yes, some of them do that.
So maybe I will dip into a trans man. Let me get my cup. Anywho, but yes, I like curves and things. So when I did date a trans woman, my experience was very eye-opening. It was I can say it was one of the best relationships I've had in my 31 years of living. Yes, you see this baby face, 31. Anyway, I mean, the experience was no different from any other relationship, besides the fact that she catered to me. She made me feel the way I wanted to feel. She, she loved me. I loved her. I still love her. I'm pretty sure she still loves me, but it was no different, and it didn't make me feel any less of a lesbian in that situation. So we're here to discuss why people feel like there's some shift in how you identify, and what changes or what doesn't change when you enter these type of relationships. So, do you want to talk about any of your relationships?
We can branch into that, but to comment on what you said about you not feeling anything other than a lesbian because while you were dating a trans woman, that's correct. But also, as I tell people all the time, you can identify however you choose. You can use whatever labels you choose. Like for example, I identify as a trans guy, and I can date a lesbian, and she doesn't have to say, "Oh, I'm bisexual," or "I'm now straight," or whatever. She can still identify with her lesbian label and just say, "However, I have a boyfriend." This is a common debate that, if you are a lesbian and you date a trans man or you date a trans person, regardless of what is after the word trans, because there's not just trans men and trans women, there's trans people, transgender nonconforming, and other labels. But if you are a lesbian who is dating a trans person, you do not have to now say, "Oh, well, now I'm straight," or "I'm bi," or whatever. If you choose to continue to live under the label or use the label lesbian, that is your choice. Yes, people will assume that you're either 1, lying, 2, bisexual, 3, pansexual, 4, no label, or 5, confused, or even straight, right? Like, there's so many labels, but only you can label yourself if you use any labels. If you use any titles, only you can tell people what to label you as or what titles to put, under your name. Only you can do that. I can't tell someone else, "Oh, if you're a lesbian and now I'm your boyfriend, now you have to say, 'Oh, I'm straight,' or 'I'm bi.'" You don't have to say any of that. As long as you acknowledge the fact that I am your boyfriend, we're fine. And acknowledge the fact that I am your boyfriend without spilling my tea, which in other words is telling people that I am trans, because that is never your place to explain the trans person's business, their life.
But doesn't that come up into why we have these labels? If I do date a trans man, I identify as cisgender female, he identifies as trans man male, we're in a heterosexual relationship.
If that's what you call it. That is how most people will see it, yes. But then again, you have some people who are not going to be respectful of that trans guy, and they're going to say, "Well, y'all still two girls." So people will assume whatever they want. However, you and your partner are the only ones who can tell them how y'all identify, what label y'all use. So basically, it has to be.
What you're saying? Basically, it has to be a package or an agreement between the partners,
right?
Of how we're going to portray, not portray, but how we're going to be labeled and addressed.
Right. It has to be something that y'all will talk about, because I know plenty of trans men who are dating cisgender lesbians, and their girlfriends or wives or whatever are still saying that they are lesbians. However, I have a boyfriend. Or some, for whatever reason, and again, you use whatever labels you want, there are some trans men who are dating lesbians, and the lesbians are still saying that I'm a lesbian. But then they'll go on to say, I'm a lesbian because my boyfriend is trans. So now you're putting his business out there.
Right.
And in other words, you're saying because he's trans, he's still a girl. You can't do that.
But does that make... That's an issue. Like, so does that make your experience, like, downgraded or anything? If say me and you dated.
Mm-hmm.
I keep saying, I'm a lesbian. No, I'm a lesbian. I'm a lesbian. And they be like, but you got a boyfriend. No, I'm a lesbian. That's my boyfriend. That sounds like, to me, it sounds like it is like downgrading what we have. Like, why wouldn't I just be bi?
Because, again, you choose to identify with whatever labels you choose to identify
but
with. If lesbian is what makes you comfortable, then fine, still say that. However, you still have to acknowledge the fact that you have a boyfriend, is what I'm saying.
But
yes,
you can't,
it's very confusing.
Can you be lesbian with a boyfriend?
Apparently, because
I don't think so.
I'm still trying to understand the many different labels and identities and people being able to say, oh, you know, like, I'm a lesbian but I have a boyfriend, or I'm straight but my partner is a lesbian, or whatever it is. It's like, again, you choose your own labels and your own titles. It's all about being able to own whatever labels and titles that you use and be able to explain it if people are confused or unsure of it, and letting them know that this is what it is without, if you're dating a trans person, without telling their business, because it is never anyone else's place but that trans person to talk about their trans identity.
Get that part. So let's talk about if you dated a lesbian.
Which I have. And I always tell myself that I need to refrain from dating lesbians. Only because Cash thinks I'm a lesbian basher. I am not.
But I understand why you feel the way you feel about lesbians.
I love lesbians. Again, like our last video, I said that the lesbian community was most of us trans guys' safe zone to hide in until we could live our truth or evolve from, or whatever words you choose to use. But I love all lesbians. My issue is I had two buddies, we'll call them, and two different times. I'm not like that. I mean, I could be, but anyway, at two different times of my life, while I still identifying as a trans guy, I dated two cisgender lesbians. They were like high feminine lesbians, and they both would always take to social media and say, oh, I'm a lesbian, I don't like dudes, I wish these dudes stop inboxing me, blah blah blah. And meanwhile, I just blew your back out the day before, so I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding, and like, why they would post those things, because then it makes me sit and be like, so
but
how do you see me? So
that's what I was trying to get at.
I would hit them up and I would be like, your post is really funny. And they'd be like, what post? And I'll tell them exactly, or I'll screenshot it or whatever, and I'll send it to them or tell them exactly which post I'm referring to. And they're like, oh, well, you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean. You have to explain to me, because in my mind now I'm thinking, so
you don't really like me because you don't see me as a
either you don't really like me, or you don't see me as I really am. You see me as a girl, or you're just making an exception, like a lot of people do. They're like, oh, we make that exception. And that let's get on the word exception for once. Mm-hmm. Stop making exceptions.
I can't lie though.
When people don't have surgery, either you're gonna like somebody, you're gonna date them, or you're not. You're not gonna make these exceptions. I don't like that.
I can't lie. I sometimes I think about that. Like, I don't think I will actually date another trans woman, and she would be the exception.
But why?
But it has nothing to do.
They're all different. Why?
But it has nothing to do with. It has nothing to do with her being trans or the experience. I think it has everything to do with. I think she. It could be, because now I'm about to contradict what I just said, because it's like she was the one who got in. Like, she was the one who got in, and I don't see anyone else getting in like she did.
But
so to me, she would be the exception. Not that I will ever say she was the exception.
But see, now when I was saying exceptions, I was saying exception as far as their body parts, as far as as far as their aesthetic, appearance or whatever. That's what I was saying.
Yes, about. I'm still very attracted to trans women.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the thing. So you just said it that you're still attracted to some trans women. Okay, because they're women. A lot of them are beautiful women, whatever. So yes, I agree. So you're attracted to them, but how can you? Shout out to all my beautiful trans sisters. I love y'all.
All of y'all.
I love y'all.
All of y'all beautiful in your own way.
And by the way, stop killing my trans sisters. Stop harming them.
We get on track.
So, my point is, you just said that you are attracted to trans women. That's it. It's
I'm attracted to women.
Exactly. So there's not about if you're attracted to a woman and y'all, let's say y'all friends on social media, y'all start liking each other's stuff, y'all exchange numbers, whatever, y'all start liking each other. Then she later tells you that, the word trans is a part of her identity. She is of trans experience, or however she labels it, describes it to you. Are you not going to date her?
Me personally, no. Now, let's go back 10 years. No, not 10. Not 10. I'm not that old. Let's go back. Let's go back 8 years. When I first met the person I was dating, I had no clue. Like, it was like a situation. I'm not going to get too much into detail, but it was a situation. I met her, and, we started kicking it. Mm-hmm. When it came out, I was in denial, like, no, dog. Like, that's not happening.
When what came out? When her trans identity came out?
When her identity came out, I was in denial. I was like, no, like, that's not happening. Like, mind you, I went to her house, spent the night, and everything. And I was just like, wait, what?
So,
like, no.
So this is my
thing.
So,
and back then, this is another thing that I want to express in every video. There is a line of maturity. Mm-hmm. And once people hit that peak of maturity, we can have educated and understanding conversations, and everybody can be on the same page. Because back then, when I did find out, it did come out, and it was just like, hold up, is this for real? And then it was like, I was caught up because I knew how in the lesbian community how I would be labeled. I would be labeled a dick layer. I would be labeled bisexual. I would be labeled not a lesbian. And it was just like, wait, I don't think I'm ready to handle this.
Labeled by other people.
Right, but if you're not comfortable within yourself and understand where you stand at, you feel like this ain't what I'm supposed to do. This not right. But like, I'm a lesbian. I'm not supposed to this, or I'm not supposed to be attracted to this, and this. And it had. To me, at that time, I really didn't have any education or understanding of what trans anything was. Mm-hmm. It was either you was lesbian or you was gay. It was. And I'm talking about
can be a lesbian or gay.
And I'm talking about back in the 90s, like.
Right, before you had all this knowledge, all this stuff was out, right?
And it was just like, either I was this hard lesbian or I was a feminine lesbian. I'm only messing with other lesbians. And that's it. So when the trans community came up to me when I started learning, like, to me, at that time, it was no thing as trans. Either you was gay, you was lesbian, or you was drag queen. I'm being honest. That's all the knowledge I had at the time. That's all the knowledge I had. And it caused a wedge in between me and this person relationship. And we went on with not even dealing with each other at that time.
Because you didn't have the knowledge.
Right. And because I was afraid of how I would be judged and looked at.
And that's a common thing. People are so worried about what other people think. But you have to think about it. You're so worried about what other people think. That's stopping you from finding your true love. That's stopping you from being happy. Stopping you from living your life and doing what you want to do. Right. Whatever it is that makes you happy. No matter who you date, what type of people you like, what it is that you like, stop worrying about what other people say or how they dictate your life, whatever. Because if they're not financing you, fucking you, or feeding you, they don't matter. And everybody needs to know that.
Drink the tea on that, honey.
you put these labels on yourself like, oh, you say that you're a gay man because usually you are sexually attracted to other men, or those are the types of people that you usually sleep with. However, you can have a girlfriend and you can choose to say either I am a gay male, however I have a girlfriend, or I am a straight man, but I sleep with men.
But does that eliminate the bisexual community?
Bisexual will always be there in the middle because you have straight, you have bi, you have gay, you have
but
lesbian,
what makes you
bi? Pansexual. I have no label because I choose not to. Because I feel like labels is how people figure you out, how they box you in, and they're like, oh, so if you use this label, now I know exactly what you're about. You don't know what I'm about because I didn't give you a box to put me in. I didn't give you a label to put me under. So it's like if you know the definition of what bisexual is, and then I say, oh, I'm bisexual, now you're going to expect me to live up to all of the bisexual expectations and terms underneath that definition. Men and women? Exactly. When all people do not identify as male and female, as men and women. Again, before, there are people who are non-binary, people who are gender non-conforming, gender variant. Like, there's so many multiple gender identities out there, and like I said, so I choose not to use any labels. As far as saying that I'm a trans guy, which sometimes even then I'm like, so I feel like I'm comfortable in not having any label, and I feel like I'm mostly comfortable with dating a lesbian identified I don't even want to say cisgender woman because again a trans woman can identify as lesbian, but I don't have a problem with dating a lesbian identified person as long as they include me in their label. So you can say I'm a lesbian but I have a boyfriend. That's fine. You don't have to elaborate on all of that to people if you don't want to. Yes, it'll be nice so that they're not so lost and confused. Just leave out that, oh, but my boyfriend is trans, because then again, that's back to that exception. I don't like that. Me personally, I don't like that, and I know a lot of people that don't like that. But yeah, so everybody, at the end of the day, everybody uses whatever labels they feel fit for their life, if any labels.
If any. Right. Got that. Another thing we wanted to talk about is, did we say, no, we didn't say intimacy. We said like
relationships, but
no, we said like the bedroom preference. Oh God. The bedroom preference is the issue. Like, it's like, if I'm a lesbian and my partner is dicking me down, then that makes me less of a lesbian.
Incorrect.
If you're a trans man and you're getting dicked down, that makes you less of a man. Or that makes you a gay man. Incorrect. And people have different names for their body parts.
Yes, that's another thing. Don't assume that, because you see what appears to be a vagina, that's what that person labels it as. Or because you see breast, that's what that person labels it as. Everybody, for the most part, has their own different nicknames or whatever for their parts. It's always safe to ask them, how do you label your parts? Or what do you call your private parts? Or anything of that nature. Like, just don't assume, because, again, it always brings it back to dysphoria. And that's not only for trans people, because I've known some lesbians to have dysphoria because they have breasts or hips, or because they get a period, or what, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has some type of, or has had some type of dysphoria, maybe. So never assume that, because this is what it appears to be, this is what I'm going to call. No, ask them, because one, it can be a turn off. It can put people in a bad funk. It can stir up people's emotions and dysphoria, depression, whatever it is. So don't assume about people's body parts, or assume in general.
What pleases you sexually has nothing to do with how you identify. it has nothing to do with who you're attracted to. Also, like you can easily like dick, but on like getting it from women. Right?
That's true. That's true. If you mature, if you educate yourself and you talk to people and you open your mind, you will learn or understand that we have holes. Some people have more holes than others. And what you choose to put in those holes or that hole is your business.
Right.
Now, if you are let's say a lesbian identifying woman, trans, cisgender, doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. If you are a lesbian identifying woman and you like dick, that does not mean that you also like men, because you have that attraction to other women. However, you like penetration.
Yes. Dick does not equal men.
Hello.
Plain and simple.
And vice versa for some trans men who, whether they have surgery or not, because again, some of us have more holes than others, some have 1, 2, whatever.
So you're trying to say, and pussy does not equal women, so you might as well say that.
Okay.
Right. Just like
so
just like we was going back to what people label or name their body parts. Like
exactly.
So
exactly. Yeah. So I just say hole, and that's because some people say spot, area, stuff.
I just want pussy. Whatever you call your pussy, that's what I want. Just give me your pussy. That's all.
So anyway, like I was saying, and vice versa for some trans men, people are always telling trans men that they are, less of a man or less of a person in general because they like penetration. Mm-hmm. Your body likes what it likes. Yes. Some people hate the fact that they like penetration. I don't. But however,
you don't hate the fact that you like it, or you
no.
Like
I don't like penetration. I don't. Although, going back to the labels, a lot of people see me and think, "Oh, I'm a feminine top," AKA meaning I'm a feminine person. They see me as a feminine bottom. AKA meaning I am a feminine person who gets penetration. Baby, no. No.
These are all exit holes.
Not that there's anything wrong with getting penetration, because I love the people that I get to penetrate. Thank you kindly. But in all seriousness, everybody, like I said, you cannot control. Your body likes what it likes. You can't control that. Like, if you have a hole or holes and your body likes it, you have to please those holes because that's what your body likes. If you choose not to, you're depriving yourself of that. And you don't have to, but you should. Embrace whatever feeling your body is.
Holes.
Embrace your holes. Embrace whatever your body is telling you to do to it.
And it don't have penetration doesn't always mean dick either.
It can mean fingers.
Yes.
It can mean fruits that shape like dick. It can mean vegetables that shape like dick. It can mean toys. It can
mean tongue too. Because I penetrate plenty of.
So
it's not about me.
It ain't about me either. It's about the community.
Yes.
Okay? All right. Long as we know that. So, and there's just, you have to give your body what it wants, because in a way you will be unsatisfied with life, because you're depriving yourself of the things that it wants because of what other people think and assume.
You will never experience bliss and the true word of ecstasy and just like other side of the world.
On this topic is, if a man gets a finger in his ass or gets penetrated in his ass, he is gay. That does not mean that.
No. Do
your research. Learn about the anus. Learn about the G-spot for men. Learn. I just want people to do their research. I want you to educate yourselves, because everybody has some type of G-spot. Wherever it is, I don't know, but you need to find it. You need to learn about it and learn how to find it when you are being sexual with people.
Yeah.
And so the common debate is, oh, penetration with women makes them straight or bi or a dick layer or whatever you want to call it, and penetration to men makes them gay or bi or a dick layer also. No, stop.
Just laying it.
Like, your body likes what it likes.
Right.
And if a man, especially a straight man who is in a relationship with a woman, if he wants you to put your finger in his ass, do that. Because what you won't do, somebody else will.
Yes.
Or as
and he don't necessarily have to go to a man to get it.
Yes.
He can go to another woman.
Likes, and it's probably going to help him climax better.
Than just her finger.
And have better sex with you and only sex with you.
So, thank you for tuning in to the L&T show.
Or the T&L.
Either way is fine.
Until next time.
Y'all continue to shine. I want to say thank you to my band. Let's go, y'all. Get the drums up. They say all I do, talk about girls, rap about money, talk about diet. But this is me, it's only right. I've been doing this all my life. You wanna hear me talk about staying on the block, grinding all night, serving things, shooting dice, counting the house and watch my money flip twice, right? Doing time in the bed just to come home and do